The Hitman's Bodyguard is hitting theaters this weekend. Should you pull the trigger on buying a ticket? We'll let you know right here on Screen Junkies News. Hello, I'm Dan Murrell.
And I'm Roth Cornett.
And we are reviewing Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson in The Hitman's Bodyguard, one of the last big movies to come out during the calendar summer season, although for all intents and purposes, the summer movie season is pretty much over.
It's done, pretty much.
Yeah, one of the last big ones to come out. Ryan Reynolds is a bodyguard. Samuel L. Jackson is a hitman.
And one is guarding the other.
Exactly. It's a pretty simple premise.
Yeah.
But let's just get into general thoughts, Roth. This is kind of a throwback action comedy, very reminiscent of the 90s in particular. Yes. You know, nothing, I don't think, groundbreaking as far as the setup or the payoff. What did you think of this movie?
So my initial thoughts while I was watching the film, I mean, I sat there in the theater going, my mother would love this movie. She would love this movie. This movie was tailor-made for her and her tastes because she is a big fan of the 1990s action fare. Yeah. She loved Broken Arrow. She loved Face Off. And now I will say...
As do I.
Well, but I don't think that this movie is necessarily at that level, though, right? I think it's something that is reminiscent of those films and the films of that era. I think it's something that will make you feel like you're back in that time a little bit. And it has some of the strengths in terms of the relationships are really good. They're playing directly to brand for each of these actors.
Definitely.
With the possible exception of Salma Hayek.
Yeah, she does. She has some interesting, fun stuff to do in this movie.
She does. There's some great moments with Salma Hayek and Sam Jackson in particular. But yeah, it feels like a version of that is slightly watered down. It feels sort of like where the carbon copy, not in the negative, totally negative way, but where the carbon copy is just a little more faded.
Yeah.
But it is harkening back to that. If you missed that, if you loved that era of action, then this movie might be something you really enjoy. I know my mother would love this movie.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is playing the Ryan Reynolds character, and Samuel L. Jackson is playing himself. He's playing the character that he's played in so many other movies. I didn't go into this movie necessarily with enormous expectations. I'd seen the trailer. The trailer didn't do a whole lot for me, but I try not to let trailers kind of color my expectations going into a movie. But just the setup and everything, I'm like, okay. And I will say this movie exceeded my expectations in that regard. It's not a bad movie. I didn't dislike it. I think that if you haven't seen, I was kind of thinking about, like, if I hadn't seen this movie 25 times before,
right,
I would really like this movie a lot because I wouldn't have seen this dynamic play out so many different times. It's, you know, have I seen better versions of this movie? Yeah, I have. But you know what? I've seen a lot of worse versions of this movie as well. So
I'm kind of curious what those are. Let's go back.
But there's so many.
No, but I think it's true. But there were so many of those types of movies in that era.
And there are so many lazy action movies that are made, I think, a lot of times, where the writing is just flat and it's all about just the explosions, and there's really no effort made to construct anything other than just a vehicle to shoot at things and blow things up. And this movie, I think, is above that. I think that Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, yes, they're playing these characters that we've seen them play before, but they're putting effort behind it. They're not bad performances. I thought the acting in this movie was good. Gary Oldman plays this Belarusian deposed war criminal, and I always love seeing Gary Oldman in movies now because his career trajectory is so interesting, and it's almost like he's ticking things off a list. He's like, okay, I've done the comic book movie, I've done the spy movie. It's like, I want to do bad guy in a kind of quippy action movie, and he's great because he's Gary Oldman, and he's always great.
Gary Oldman is unquestionably always magnificent. I will say we've never seen him play dad, like Suburban Dad.
That's next.
I would
Gary
like to
Oldman
see Gary Oldman
Dad.
play Suburban Dad so badly.
Yeah.
But it did in moments, like, I would say that these would be my couple of critiques, is that if you have seen a lot of those movies that they're hearkening back to, there's very little that will surprise you here because it is unfolding in a formula. Gary Oldman is fantastic. Occasionally, it felt like to me he was in a slightly different movie because his sequences were very disturbing and the rest of it was very heightened.
Isn't Gary Oldman always in a different movie from everybody else in the movie?
He's
always doing his own thing. Doesn't matter what the movie is. There's like what everyone else is doing in the movie and what Gary Oldman is doing. Yeah,
and it is whatever he wants to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's like, this is Drexel. You'll like it. Which Drexel is from True Romance, which he was amazing in.
So great.
So that sort of feels like, yeah, there's not a lot of surprises if you've seen all of those movies. I am curious, if you haven't, how you feel about that. They are very much in these quippy one-liner action movies, meaning Sam Jackson and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
It's so on brand for them, though. At a certain point, I wondered, are they parodying themselves almost a little bit? Do you know what I mean?
Sam Jackson in particular, he's playing his persona in this movie.
It's a tip of the hat.
It is. He's playing the Sam Jackson persona.
Yeah.
And he's great at that because he's the actual Sam Jackson.
Yes.
So, of course, he's great at playing the Sam Jackson persona. It's like they wrote a character in this movie for a Sam Jackson type, and they got lucky and got Sam Jackson to play the role.
Exactly. And if you like that, this is all of that. And it is kind of meta in the sense it's making fun of certain catchphrases and lines and how he's used them over the years. So there is a conversation with the audience also going on in that sense. Salma Hayek, like I said, is a little different, but fantastic in the small amounts of the movies that she's in.
Very small, but memorable,
yes.
I think.
And really fun.
Oh, yeah. So, really, they have one sequence in particular that's kind of like, they do these flashbacks in the movie that kind of explain how characters met each other, and there's one with Sam Jackson and Salma Hayek that I thought was,
a standout moment.
A standout moment in the movie. And it's moments like that that made me not write this movie off as I was watching it. And I actually think that the action is well directed. There's a lot of practical stunt action, driving and explosions and stuff that, again, a lesser movie would kind of phone it in on. That was a great. It kind of sucks that was in the trailer.
Yeah,
I wish we hadn't shown because that's a good moment in the movie. But I thought the action was well shot. It's not just let's throw a shaky cam in there and shoot whatever happens and just hide through the cuts. Let's hide the action. Like, I thought it was kind of a throwback to that style of just like, we're gonna put drivers behind cars, crash them into each other. The fight scenes I thought were well choreographed. This isn't a great movie. This isn't a movie that I'm gonna buy when it comes out. This isn't a movie that I need to go see again. This kind of defines just like a good movie. You can go see it, probably pay matinee prices. It's a great Saturday afternoon movie. It's a great HBO movie. Like, it's not great, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just right in the middle.
I think that as far as the action goes, I do wonder, we've sort of come to expect fresh, new, exciting ways to execute action. And because this is very much harkening back to previous types of action movies, there were moments that I did want a little more out of it. There were moments that I craved something innovative. You get something like John Wick, and it totally, they're not reinventing the wheel, but the way they execute those action sequences is so exciting. And I personally, The Raid, I bring it up a lot, but it's just so great. I love hand-to-hand action sequences. So I think they were solid, but not extraordinary action sequences. I don't think they'll blow your seat off,
As far as action sequences go, it would be hard for almost any movie to match up to, particularly The Raid and John Wick. I mean, that is some of the most innovative action directing I've seen in a long time. This is not that, for sure. I just feel like I can't tell you to run out this second and go see Hitman's Bodyguard, but if you find yourself with a free afternoon and you're just looking to spend a couple of enjoyable hours at a movie theater, this isn't perfect. It's too long. It's about 20 minutes too long. Yeah. We hit what I thought was the climax of the film, and then it had 30 minutes left, which kind of, I'm like, okay, you're really kind of overplaying your hand here. So, not a perfect movie by any means, but I mean, this is just the definition of, hey, I've got a couple hours. What should I go see? This isn't the worst choice in the world. I think you're gonna have fun, and then you're gonna forget it the second that you walk out of the theater.
I don't think this is a movie we will be talking about in 6 months or a year from now. It'll be something that happened, and then we go, oh yeah. Is my guess. But then again, when Broken Arrow came out, did we know we would be talking about it all these years later? This is what I would say. If you are my mom, I highly recommend that you go see this movie.
It's a very specific recommendation if and only if you're a Roth's mom.
If you are my mom, you must go see this movie. Or if, like her, you sort of loved those years of the 90s action movies and you crave that and a return to that, you should definitely go see this movie, because I actually think you'll really enjoy it in that case.
If you have a parent that loves action movies, I agree. If your dad loves action movies, then he's gonna love this movie.
You should go see it with your parent that loves action movies. If you don't care for that, if you didn't care for that genre, then this probably isn't for you.
Yeah, it's not a genre buster as far as like innovating in the genre, but I don't know. I didn't mind it. I had a good time. It's a boring review, but I feel like it's good. It's fine. Check it out if you want to.
I think if you like Broken Arrow, it's not as fun as Broken Arrow.
No, it's not Face Off.
It's not Face Off. Don't accept Face Off. But what is?
What is?
That's what we leave you with.
All right.
I've been Dan Merle.
I've also been Dan Merle.
I was doing a Face-Off thing.
Oh,
it didn't really work.
See, right. I'm a little slow on the uptake. Hitman's Bodyguard. It just pummeled me to death. I have been Dan Merle.
I've been Roth Cornett.
That's our review for Hitman's Bodyguard. Stay tuned to Screen Junkies News. Always bringing in the reviews of whatever's hitting theaters. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Click here for more awesome Screen Junkies news and click the logo to subscribe.